Welcome to Flower of Life podcast. This is Carmen Fernandez. Today, you're going to learn how to take control of your finances the Zen way. For that, I'm with Antoine Catteau. Antoine is originally from France and currently he's based in London. Antoine had a successful career in finance, leading operational teams in companies in Europe and America. And 2 years ago, he started his own business consulting company. He's passionate about travels, personal development, the mind and healing abilities. And apart from his chartered accounting qualifications, he's also an NLP master practitioner, Psych K facilitator, transformational coach, and pranic healer. Hi, Antoine. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Carmen. Thank you very much. I'm very thrilled and pleased and grateful to be here with you today.
I'm very happy that you're here. And I know that money is a big topic for many people, especially now in the times we're living now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, with the pandemic right now and a lot of economies in shambles, we see a lot of people being furloughed or losing their job or having a lot of fears around their future. And it's a very important time to reflect and to see how we are managing our own personal finances.
Yes.
And today I thought it was an opportunity to talk with you about how you could do that in a way called the Zen way.
Yes, the Zen way. I love the Zen way.
Because it's something based on kind of proven personal finance management techniques, but also focusing on the mindset.
It's very important, the mindset, right?
The mindset is very, very important because our personal relationship with money is very based on emotions, and you attract what you're focusing on. So if you're fearing about lacking money, you're going to attract lack of money. Whereas if you are in an environment, even if you're facing difficulties in your life, even if you don't know how long you're going to be employed or something like that, if you're in a positive attitude and if you feel that you're grateful, if you feel that you're joyful, and if you elevate your vibrations around money, and you are more likely to attract money than attracting the lack of money. So that's why it's very, very important to focus both on proven management techniques around money, but also your relationship with money.
Yes, I like that. I've worked as well in finance and banking for a long time in my life.
Yeah.
And when you work in finance or in insurance companies, you see money all the time, and it's like numbers going from one account to another.
Yeah.
But in real life, it's different. What money means to you?
Money is a tool. Money is a measurement of your added value. I mean, this translates into the amount of paycheck you get from your employer. But money is also an energy. Money is something that for a lot of people means, well, if I have money, I'm going to get more freedom or I'm going to be more happy, which might not be true, but it's something which is just something to measure your level of vibration, regarding attracting abundance into your life.
Yeah, I love that.
That would be my definition of what money is.
Yes, I love that. And what is the Zen way of taking control over your finances?
So let me start with a quote. There's a quote which I like from John Maxwell, who say, you have to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And I like it because a lot of people who doesn't really know how much they're spending or on what they're spending they're going to have more difficulties to save and to spend properly. So managing your money the Zen way is several things. So let me start with the first thing you have to do is you have to understand how much money you own and how much money you owe. And I like to refer to Robert Kiyosaki on this because he wrote a very great book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you've heard about that book.
Yes, I read that. I love that book, yeah.
It's a book I read like many, many years ago, and I really, really enjoyed the way he was explaining about what is an asset and what is a liability. So when you have something which is going to put money into your pocket, that's an asset. So for example, you have money on your bank account. Well, you can withdraw money from your bank account. It will go in your pocket and you can do whatever you want with this money. So this is an asset. If you have a car, people think that a car might be an asset, but in fact, you will have to put gas in your car. You will have to pay for car insurance, and the value of your car is going to decrease month after you bought it. So this is not really an asset. So the first thing that you have to do is to really list what you have and how much you owe to other people or to other institutions through your mortgages, through maybe bank overdraft. And the difference between the two is going to be your net worth. And if hopefully your net worth is positive, then you're already on the right start. If your net worth is not positive, you have to really focus on repaying your debt to then start to save and invest wisely. So once you know a bit how much assets and liability you have, you need to look at your current spending habits. And the best way to do this is to really go back to your bank account and look at all the transactions that you had during the last 1 month or 2 months, and try to analyze those transactions by type, by categories. So how much you spend on food, how much you spend on rent, how much you spend on shopping, how much you spend on transportation, or everything else. There are a lot of tools and free applications that you can get, especially on your mobile phone. Like there's a lot of banking tools that helps to categorize your spending. So it's good if you could start to do this and start to analyze, well, where is my money going? Is there anything I can do to reduce my spending or to spend more wisely? Because I'm going to tell you another quote, like from Warren Buffett, who's made like a fortune on the stock market. He said, you do not save what is left after spending, but you have to spend what is left after saving. So I really like that, because it's very important for you to know how you're spending and how much you're spending by categories. And then you need to say, okay, this is how much I earn through my employment or any other source of income, and this is how much I spend. So what do I need to do to reduce my spending or to increase my saving abilities? Normally, we say that it would be good if you could save up to 10% of what you're earning. And saving, you need to put a saving into a saving account, which I call like a Zen account, which is an account which is only going to be used for the rainy days. So it's important, if you see that you don't have any saving today, that you take a decision and you want to save, and you put something on the saving account which is going to be hard for you to use. What I mean by that is that you don't need to have like a debit card or a credit card linked to the saving account, because it's something which is going to be there, which is going to give you a peace of mind, knowing that you have money set aside, but not something that you can use just to buy the latest thing on eBay or on Amazon, or latest things for shopping. It's really something that you need to put aside for the rainy days if for some reason you lose your revenues and you still have to pay for your living expenses. So you have to start slow. If you don't have anything as such, start to see how much you need to save to have like 1 month of living expenses set up aside, or 2 months or 3 months. What we really want to do is to encourage people to have at least 6 months to 1 year of living expenses set aside. Because if you know that you have this, if something happened, you're going to be much zen about this, because you know that if you're losing your job, you will have time to find something else before that you have to forfeit your mortgage or something happens. So putting money on a saving account is not going to give you much nowadays with a very low interest rate, but it's a balance between how much security and safety you want to have by having money somewhere which is not going to bring a lot of interest to you, compared to how much stress you're going to be if you're running out of money in 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, you have to know that 2/3 of Americans and 1/3 of British people don't have any saving at all. And they won't be able to survive after 2 weeks after their lost paychecks. And today, with the current pandemic, we get some subsidies from the states, but this is not going to long last. And we really need to be learn to become independent on that.
Yes, we need
So,
to learn how to save for the rainy days.
So you have to learn to save for the rainy days, and then you have to what I call set your finance on autopilot. What does that mean, setting up your finance on autopilot? Once you know how much you spend and where you spend, how much you have to pay for, let's say, your rent or your mortgage to reimburse your mortgage, how much of you have to pay on a monthly basis for your phone, for all your utility bills or things like that, you have to automate this through your bank accounts. So then when you get your paychecks, when your paycheck hits your bank account, it automatically flows into those direct debit where you're going to secure your rent payment, your utility bills payments, your credit card payments. So if it's done automatically, you're not going to be focusing on spending something differently. And what is left after you paid all your fixed monthly outgoing is for you to play with. But you were going to play with what is left after having secured paying for all what you own, which is a much better place than doing it on a day-by-day basis, starting to buy things and then and say, oh, I have to pay my bills now.
Yes.
So start to pay your bills first, and then you're going to be in a much more secure place.
Yeah, I like that, the automation, because I think we adapt to the situation that we live. Like if we earn more money, we spend more money. If we earn less money, we spend less money. So that if we automate this kind of saving, and as soon as we get our money in our account, this goes to the saving account. It's great, because it's like we don't count with that money. We don't have to do manually put that money into the saving account. It's gone automatically.
Exactly. And you say something very, very true. You say, the more we earn, the more we tend to spend. And this is why, for example, people like earning suddenly a large sum of money, for example, from the lottery, when they are not used to deal and to have so much money, they're going to spend it very quickly. And usually you see them after a couple of years, I mean, they have almost spent everything, but they spent everything in something which are not bringing them more money.
Yes.
So they tend to be going back to square one, really, which is not really good.
And then we're going back to how important it is to have a mindset, the right mindset.
So having the right mindset. So we all have specific beliefs around money. So, and those beliefs come from what your parent told you about money. I mean, if your parents say, well, be careful, money doesn't grow on trees, or if you've been like living in a childhood where money was scarce, you might have some fear about not having enough money, or you might have a belief of that getting money is something difficult. So you really have to change your belief, and there's a few ways that you can do. The first thing, and one of an easy thing which I suggest to people, is doing a big list of why. Why do you want to have money, and not just for you, but why do you want to have money for what it will bring to your family or to other loved one or other people you want to care for? Because the most powerful numbers of why you're going to have, the more easily you're going to start to change your belief around money. So if you say, for example, that, well, I want to have money because it's going to give me freedom, that's still very, very generic. But if you say, well, I want to earn money a lot so I can give 10% of what I'm earning to charities, to transform an orphanage, to transform a specific cause that is really important to you, to your heart. This is already much more specific and much more powerful. Because you're going to think about, well, how can I increase my revenue so then 10% of the income goes to these charities, and these charities really need that within the next 2 to 3 months or 6 months or for a year. So then it's start to change your focus And then your subconscious mind is going to try to come up with ways for you, ideas for you to generate more money. So that's why it's very, very important that you get a list of why. And those why need to be very positive and full of gratitude, and because you want money in a proper way. You don't want to be rich by making other people poor, or by getting money from other people in not reputable ways, if I can say it like this.
Yeah.
So if you're in a position, and if you start to visualize, if you start to set up your own affirmation on something very positive, on I'm deserving to earn money because I have my gift to offer to the world, or because I have going to do so many things with that money, for me, for my family, for my loved one, for a charity or an organization whatsoever. This is going to be very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the ways that you can change some of your really ingrained negative belief around money that you had coming from your environment, your culture, your childhood, your education, or anything that happened to you in the past, to say, well, now the past is not equal to the future. I'm taking a firm decision to change the way I'm going to look at money. I'm going to become friend with money, and money and myself are going to do great things. And it's also important that when you say money and myself are going to do great things, you're really going to give back.
I love that affirmation, yes.
So there's a few affirmations which I really enjoy. That, for example, there's something that you could say to yourself, like, I have a magical job. I provide magical services for a magical pay every single month.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
I
good
find
one
that
as well.
something like this could be very, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
If you struggle, for example, to save, or to organize your spending, you can say something like, it's easy and fun for me to plan my spending and my saving the Zen way every single month.
Yes.
So you have to play with that. You have to play with something which is really going to be powerful, meaningful, and full of emotions for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an affirmation has to be not just be generic, but mean something which is very, very powerful for you. So if you want to save, you can say something like, I'm easily and joyfully saving, I don't know, $500 a month into my Zen account.
Yes, I like that. In my experience when I was a kid, I always heard like how difficult it was to earn money. My dad was a farmer, my mom was a housewife, and they were always fighting about money. And I decided I don't want this for me. I want to be independent woman, and I want to make money. And now I was successful at getting myself into a career that is easy to get a job, and it's good money, and I'm glad with that. On the other side, I find very difficult to save money, and I find very hard to look at my account and check what I did with my money. And the money always comes. I know I don't have fear of not having money. I know the money will always come, but it comes and it goes very quickly as well.
So maybe you have to look a bit at your spending.
Yes, I need to look at my spending, yes.
And the fact that you have a bit of fear around that is probably that you have some learnings to do around how you're spending your money.
Yes.
But coming back to the principle of giving back to the community, it's very important, because it's what we call a bit of a law of karma. Because everything we do creates a kind of corresponding energy that comes back to us in some shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to receive, you need to start giving.
Yes.
That's very, very important. When we breathe, before inhaling, we have to exhale.
Mm-hmm.
So giving a bit of what you have acts on an energetical level as a kind of insurance policy. And because you attract what you're focusing on, if you start to give money away, even if you don't have that much level of money, the action of giving a little bit of money shows that you have enough money to give. So
Mm-hmm.
you're focusing on the fact that you already have a level of abundance. And by sharing this level of abundance, you're going to get more abundance back.
Ah, yes.
So wherever you are in your finance, just start giving. And give to people who need, give to who you want, give to charities. But the action of giving is going to create also like a feeling of peace and joy in you. So you're going to elevate your vibration. And you're going to become more friend with money.
Mm-hmm.
On the same basis, we have to learn to give money. We also have to learn to receive money. You have some people who are earning money, but sometimes facing issue to get more money. They are very open and sharing and generous. But what they're facing is that they just can't accept other people to give them money. They think they don't have the right to get money from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have to work on both. Keep reminding yourself about the action of breathing. We inhale and we exhale.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to give money away and you have to accept when money comes to you.
Allow yourself to receive as well as to give. Yes.
And you have to love yourself to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So,
Yes.
and since we're talking about this type of, I call them wizard steps about how to change your mindset around money. Another thing which is important is really feeling grateful and practicing gratitude. When you are grateful to the universe for what it has already given you, it's going to merely respond by giving you more.
Mm-hmm.
So be grateful for the money and the wealth you already have and the source of money that you are connected to. If you're in this attitude of gratitude every day, every moment, for everything you have, things are going to become easier. So that includes also like appreciating all of your service provider. So you have to pay your bills in full and very quickly.
Yes.
Because if you say, well, okay, I'm grateful, I'm giving money away, but I don't like this provider, I don't like this, I'm going to delay his payment, or I'm not going to pay him fully. You already like have starting to create a kind of mismatch about how you look at money, how you appreciate, how you judge. So it's really important that you pay your debts or your bills in full, and you give thanks for the services that you receive, and enjoy what each bill you're paying is representing, even when you're paying your taxes.
Yes.
And I know for some people, I say, "Oh my God, I'm paying way too much taxes to the state or
Yeah.
or to whatever organization." But if you're paying a lot of taxes, it also means that you're earning a lot.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So there's two sides of the coin. So you really have to look at both sides. So feeling grateful, learning to give back and also to accept money,
Mm-hmm.
getting affirmations, developing your whys, and why not just for you, but for a community or for your family. Those are very important steps that can trick your subconscious mind and help you change your belief towards elevating your level of vibration. So then you are creating more abundance into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that. And I one thing I do is being grateful. Like every time I buy something, I'm grateful for my employer because I'm buying, all the things that I'm, like I spend lots of money on courses.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for because I have that money because I'm working for my employer. So even if maybe my job is not something that is I feel really fulfilled, um, I feel grateful because it allows me to do things that I love doing, like learning and doing the courses I'm doing and going on holidays and having the lifestyle that I have.
And if you focus on what's happening to you now with all what happened in your life over the last few weeks, I mean, you really can see that we attract what we are focusing on.
Mhm.
So people who are depressed or have a lot of fear or negative beliefs around money, if they don't change their mindset, if they don't change their approach, their attitude, they're going to continue to attract those type of synchronicities in their life, and not the good ones.
Yeah.
Whereas if you really say, well, I'm the creator of my own reality, I am deciding what's going to happen in my life, and I choose to go the Zen way, I choose to go the grateful way, I choose to go the positive way, and you're building self-esteem in yourself, and you're going to be more happy, you're going to feeling more joyful, and you're going to attract a very different type of synchronicities in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to create much more opportunities. The opportunities are always there, but because of your current focus, and if you're focused on the negative side of it, you're not going to see those synchronicities or those opportunities. So the universe is always there to help you. You just have to be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So your focus is very important. And I mean, a lot of things has been written on the law of attraction. And we're talking a bit of this law of attraction indirectly through how you can change your mindset around your relationship with money. But it's the same thing. It's really, you're attracting what you're focusing on. You're attracting what you're talking about. You're attracting what your thoughts are. So be careful of your words, of your thoughts, and what you're doing.
Yes, and that reminds me something that you said, that your attitude determines your outcome.
Exactly.
And I think you have a very interesting story to tell about how you got
I
into
have
jail
an interesting story
in
that
one of your
happened to
travels.
me. Yeah. So it happened 12 years ago. I was traveling around the world. I took 2 years sabbatical to travel around the world. And as part of one of those travel, I arrived in Fiji, which is in the South Pacific. And I was there to attend like a self-development seminar. And I've been traveling for such a long time that my passport was not in a good shape. And the picture of my passport was starting to come off a bit of the passport. And I was flying to Fiji from the US. I had no issues in the US. But when I arrived into Fiji, like at the immigration, they started to doubt I was the one that was claiming to be, because there was a lot of fake passports circulating at the time. And they tried to call like the French consulate to validate my identity. And the French consulate, for some reason, was closed. And so they didn't want to let me into the Fijian territory. They say to me, well, we give you two choices. Either you fly back to where you come, because you're not going to be allowed to enter in Fiji with a passport in bad shape, in this condition, or we take you to a detention center until I arrived on a Friday morning, for the whole weekend, until we can validate your real identity with the French consulate or the French embassy. And then when you've been told that, you say, well, what do you do? And I had no will to go and to fly back. I mean, flying from the US to Fiji is like a 12-hour flight. I didn't say, no. Okay, I'm going to choose to go to the detention center, like a kind of jail. And I spent the whole morning in the immigration center. And I was put in a room first still in the airport with someone who was coming from Bangladesh and didn't have the right type of visa, so he was not also allowed to come into Fiji. And he was like, you could see like he was like a well-suited businessman, and he started to shout a lot and say, well, you don't know who I am, you cannot do something to me, I need to speak to a lawyer. And I could see that he was really like getting a bit aggressive and really pissing off the officials from the immigration in Fiji. And for me, I say, well, I'm going to choose to go with the flow, and let's remain them and remain calm and see what's going to happen. So after 2 hours waiting at the immigration office, they say, well, we're now going to let you take back your luggage, and we're going to drive you to the detention center, which was 6 kilometers away from the airport. And so say, yeah, here we go. So the head of immigration was driving like a kind of a 4x4 car. It was this is where things started for me to happen, which were very unexpected. and completely out of my Western culture mind. So he told me, so, well, you, Antoine, you sit next to me in the front, and the guy from Bangladesh was sitting in the back, surrounded by 2 police officers. And then we started the 6 kilometers journey. And just after being left the airport, the guy from the immigration looked at me and said, well, did you had any lunch? It was around like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I said, well, no, I had breakfast in the plane before landing, and that's it. So he said, oh, I'm going to invite you to a restaurant before going to put you in jail. I said, well, okay. So he stopped in a kind of a local Fijian restaurant and invited me and the guy from Bangladesh for lunch. So I could see the guy from Bangladesh eating with his hands, like on the Bangladeshi way. And
yes.
I didn't know where I was. I didn't know how to react to that. And I say, well, can I buy a bottle of water? Like, because I didn't know where I was going to and what would be the situation. And he bought a bottle of water for me. And then after we finished our lunch, we say, well, now it's time to go back to jail. So we hop back in the car, and then we went back we arrived to the detention center, and the detention center was like separated in 3 different groups, one for men, one for women, one for families. And I could see myself with my luggage going behind bars into the detention center, into the mail area. And the guy from the immigration, and I was still calm and just like say, well, still, let's choose to go with the flow. Let's see what's going to happen. And the guy from the immigration told me, well, you stay here. And he first started to deal with the guy from Bangladesh. After 25 minutes, he came back to me and started to talk to me and say, well, what are you going to do here in Fiji? What did you come for? And say, well, this is my first time I've been in Fiji in 18 months. I'm coming here for a self-development seminar with Tony Robbins, blah, blah, blah. And then you say, well, did you have an hotel booked for tonight? I say, well, yeah, I had an hotel booked for tonight, and I'm going to lose it and slept 24 hours. So my room is going to be charged, and there's no way I can cancel it right now. And then he looked at me and then say, well, I have something to offer you. So I'm going to keep your passport. And if you like, I'm going to ask my police officer to take you to the hotel. And you're going to be assigned at the hotel the whole weekend. And we pick you up on Monday to go to the French consulate. I say, oh, yeah, I
like that.
I like that. So he started to go and talk to his police officer. And then the police officer like took me out of the detention center. And then they drove me to my hotel. And on the way to drive me, they asked for being bribed. They asked me for money. I say, why? Well, we're not a taxi company, so you have to pay for us to take you to the hotel. And then I was saying, well, how do I respond to that? Again, it's something unexpected which is happening to you, and you say, how do I respond to that? Well, I say, let's go with the flow. Yeah, well, otherwise I would have paid a taxi. Let's pay those guys. They're going to take me to the hotel. Everything's going to be fine. We arrived at the hotel. There was a queue. There was a bus of tourists coming. So the front desk was surrounded by, I don't know, 20, 30 tourists checking in. And the police officer didn't want to wait at all. So each of them took me by my arms and rushed me to the front desk. I was feeling so ashamed looking at all those British tourists. And they say, well, what's happened with this guy? And when I arrived at the front desk, I was not allowed to hold my passport. So the police officer gave my passport to the front desk lady. And she said, well, yeah, we've got your rooms. And I said to the lady, well, something is happening here. I need to stay a bit longer, and I need to stay the whole weekend at this hotel. And she told me, well, that's not going to be possible because the hotel is full. We can have you for one night. And by the way, we wanted to charge your card, but the bank stopped your card. So how do you want to pay for the room? So here now I am surrounded by 2 police officers. My credit card has been blocked by the bank. The hotel is not going to allow me to stay the whole weekend because it's full. And the police officer don't know what to do with me.
Wow.
And I don't know how I'm going to get out of this mess. But again, you choose to go with the flow. So the lady saw that I was a bit embarrassed about that. And she started to say, well, we're working with a few partners of our hotels in the neighborhood. So if you'd like, I can give a few phone calls to see if there's availability in some of the other hotels for you to stay there. And then she offered me to call my bank, so then the bank could remove the block on my card. So she found me an hotel 4 times more expensive than what I was expecting to pay.
Wow.
But yeah, okay, this is what you have to do. So, so the police officer like took me to the other hotel, and they kept my passport, and they told me, well, Monday morning, 5 a.m., we go and pick you up to go to the French embassy, which was like a 2 hours drive away, because we were still close to the airport, and Fiji is a very volcanic island. And the capital of Fiji is on the other side of the volcano, so it's a long way. So instead of spending arriving at the seminar where I wanted to be with Tony Robbins trainers, I I escaped the detention center. But I was assigned at the hotel, so I spent my whole assignment by the pool, which was nice, even if it was a bit expensive, more expensive than what I wanted to. On Monday morning, 5 a.m., they arrived. I checked with them if they had my passport, because we didn't want to go through this long journey without with them forgetting my passport. 5 minutes after we left, it was pitch dark. It was 5 a.m. in the morning. We had a car accident.
Oh.
So the driver didn't see, but there was a big rock on the road, and the car got stuck over the rock. We had to call the securities from the hotel to help us lift stuff the car and remove the rock. And I was thinking, well, the car is probably broken. It's not going to get us to the Fijian capital. And the car worked. The car worked.
Wow.
So we went there. We go through the 3 hours to the Fijian capital, and then arrived to the consulate, and the French consulate say, well, yeah, we prepared for you a kind of laissez-passer so you can fly back to the UK or France. I say, well, I don't want a new laissez-passer. I want a new passport, because then I want to continue my travel. I don't want to go back to Europe in the middle of my travel. And say, well, we can't do that for you right now. You have to come back in a week, and we can give you a kind what they call an urgency passport service. I say, well, I'm not going to be in Fiji in a week from now, because my seminar will, well, it's you decide. We are not going to give your passport to Fijian authorities. You have to pick it up yourself. So I say, well, okay, I'm going to change my plan. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to do that. When I left the consulate, the police officer were still waiting for me. They thought I would have a new passport. They didn't know what to do, me having just a kind of laissez-passer. So because we were at the Fijian capital, they took me to the Ministry of Immigration in in Fiji, and they say, and to get some orders to know what to do with me. And then they say, well, wait here. And I waited in the office, and maybe 15 minutes later, somebody came from in the room and look at me and say, well, what's your story? And I started to tell my story to him. And the guy was like starting to laugh. And he said, well, give me your laissez-passer. He took my laissez-passer. He signed my laissez-passer and said, well, I'm the Minister of Immigration. With my signature, you can go wherever you want in Fiji. Enjoy your trip in Fiji. Oh, and nice. I was so grateful. And I said, thank you. And why I like telling this story is because when something happened, which is completely unexpected for you, you have the choice to react, to choose how you're going to react to something like that. I mean, I don't know what happened to the guy from Bangladesh, but he chose to say, well, this is completely unfair. You do this for me. When we were at the airport, I want to call a lawyer. You don't know who I am, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think he spent some time in the detention center. Well, I didn't spend much time in the detention center because I decided to go with the flow. I decided to keep open to, and I found that I choose to give myself a reason why all those things happened to me. And it was a very, very powerful reason. They say, well, I had the opportunity to have my passport renewed very quickly in a wonderful location that Fiji is. And then I could continue my trips because my next trip was to climb the Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And if I had chosen to go back to the UK, which was maybe the safest route, I would have probably have to wait much longer to get a passport, and I missed my next flight. So this is the meaning I decided to give myself from this experience. And you can choose to give any meaning you want to something that happened to you. But for me, that was a very empowering meaning. So since that time, this happened 12 years ago, every time I'm facing a very stressful or difficult or completely unexpected situation, I remember myself to what happened at that time and how I decided to react. It's all a question of what kind of rapport you're going to have with people around you, how you're going to, what kind of emotions and what kind of reactions you're going to have when you're faced with a very unexpected situation. And if you choose the right way, which is going with the flow, trying to assess what's happening, keeping your option open, that's the best way. That's the best way to manage and to deal with stress.
Mm-hmm. I like that. You always have the choice to.
You always have the choice. And so you have to take a bit of step back and say, well, what would be the best decision for me right now in this current situation? What should I choose? I should not listen to my anger. I should not listen to my fear. I should not listen to my anxiety. I'm not my emotions. This is very important. So, but you have to think and you have to choose.
Emotional intelligence is important there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So this took us a bit far from money, but it's all a bit related. It's all about the emotions that lacking money or having a lot of money or fearing about your future is going to bring you and put you in a situation. So, I mean, I don't know where my money is going to come in 6 months from now. I mean, I'm self-employed. I'm a business consultant. My business consultant contract with my main provider is going to end in a few months. I don't know. I could choose to be very fearful and anxious, especially in the current context and situation. But I can also choose to be open and to be confident and to be happy and to feel grateful that I can pay my home, that I'm in good health, that I'm going to see my family tomorrow and something like that. So it's all a question of choice. Everything you do is a question of choice. And the Zen way, we talk about being Zen with money, but it's been Zen with yourself. It's been Zen in life. It's the same thing. It's all a question of choice. We can educate our mindsets. We are not our emotions, but we attract what we are focusing on. We attract what our thoughts are. We attract what we are talking about. So be wise, be careful on what you're talking about. And maybe change your thoughts, some of your thoughts for some more like positive one or empowering ones.
Yes, I like that. Empowering thoughts and mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you motivate yourself to be so positive?
So I do several things. I mean, I like listening to music. I like listening to empowering music. So I've been a big fan of Tony Robbins. So when you go to seminars of Tony Robbins, there are some kind of soundtracks which are very powerful. So every time you listen to them, you feel you're back into this kind of environment. So if I have an advice for people is that try to find things which are going to remind you where you were very happy in a specific situation. I don't know, that could be the music that was played during your wedding. There could be something, the music of a movie that you really enjoyed and being with your friends or whatsoever. And listen to those type of sounds are going to act as anchor and to put you back in this kind of environment that you were at that time, the first time this happened to you. So listening to powerful tracks of music for me are very important. I like to listen to some type of track of music which are also like talked. So I think I gave you a name of one. It's Fearless. Fearless, and it's Fearless Disruption, and those type of things I enjoy listening to this. So you can listen to it in the morning when you wake up. You can listen, maybe not at night because you're going to be all energized before going to bed. So, but also move your body. Go for a walk. sometimes I can be really fed up. I can be really depressed. And I know that if I'm going to stay in my office or stay in a couch, that's not going to change my mood. So you have to really get up. The first 5 minutes are the most difficult because, yeah, okay, you have to put your trainers on or you have to put whatever you want to do. But get up and move your body. If you move your body, you're changing your physiology. If you're changing your physiology, you start to change your focus. And also you start to change your language. And by changing your focus, your physiology, and your language, you change your mindset. You not your mindset, but your state of mind. So you're going to move progressively from a type of mindset where you might be depressed, fearful, have a lot of anxiety, of anger, to something where you say, well, it's not that bad. Maybe it's get a bit better. And then, or try to put a smile. Just the fact of smiling, or like standing tall, or like putting your shoulders backwards, like it's going to help you to breathe more. And if you breathe more, you will have more oxygen in your brain. If you have more oxygen in your brain, your brain is going to start to release some more like endorphin and positive positive energy. So it's really, we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions. So don't beat up yourself when you feel low, when you feel bad. If you just can think and realize that you can change yourself in a heartbeat by doing something very different, but very quick. Smile, drink a glass of water, listen to very empowering music, go for a walk outside, give a kiss to your loved one, or do something. It's going to start to change your physiology and your language and your focus. It's all about the focus. I mean, I when I was doing some of the Tony Robbins works, he has a seminar called UPW where you do a firewalk.
I mean, yes, you're walking, you did the firewalk.
Yeah, you're walking. Have you done the firewalk?
No, yourself? I haven't. I'd love to do that, yeah.
So firewalk is like you're walking barefoot on hot coals and without burning your feet. I mean, that's the deal. So how can people do that? Well, I still don't know. I still don't know from a scientific or medical point of view why your feet don't burn when you work on hot coals. Well, if you don't do it properly, they're going to burn. You're not going to jump on the coals. You're not going to dance on the coals. You're not going to lay down on the coals. It's just a question of walking. But walking on hot coals is also why people are doing this. People are doing this nowadays in terms of personal development seminar, just to show to yourself that you can do something that you think is not possible. Still in a kind of a safe way. We're not. I'm not asking people to do crazy things. Firework could be already a bit of crazy, but if it's done in a proper way, it's safe. Because when you realize that you have done yourself something that looks completely impossible, then you're more likely to understand that you can change some of your limiting beliefs. We are our own monster. We are creating our own monsters in our mind. And because we're creating monsters, we don't think we can beat those monsters. But we can. And it's all about what you learn when you do NLP or psyche or any type of personal development, which is dealing with the mindset and changing your beliefs at your subconscious mind level. So you can do that.
It's a proof that you can do something that you previously believed that you couldn't do it. And then your mindset changes.
That I couldn't do it. I mean, one of the things that for me was really a realization after I did my first firework, I've done 7 now. So
7 fireworks?
Yeah, in different countries. Wow. And then I taught people how to do that. But one of the first things, I was working like my ass off in a company at the time. I was very, very tired, but I was acting as being the good soldier of the company. every time my boss or someone would say, well, Antoine, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I gave up my freedom. I gave up my own will of deciding what I wanted to do in my life. So for me, doing this first firework was a realization. I always wanted to travel at the time. I say, well, now I'm going to start to say no. I'm going to start to say, well, I want to travel the world. I want to take a sabbatical. I'm going to go and talk to HR and say, I want to take a year off. And at the end of the day, I took 2 years off. And I really enjoyed that because it was one of the first time I really decided I want to do something for myself, that I want to do myself. I don't want to continue to do what other wants me to do. I mean, you have a choice. Either you live your life or you're going to live the life of someone else.
Yes.
So for me, it's a realization I had after doing this first firework. It was very, very, very powerful. And it started to change the way I was starting to look at the world, the way my values. And I'm bloody proud to have allowed myself to travel around the world for 2 years.
Wow,
I mean, I talked about Fiji, but had an amazing experience mingling with penguin in Antarctica, or doing things in Russia, meeting the Dalai Lama in Australia, developing an orphanage in southern India. I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing. But all this started from a decision I made. Like, I'm going to say no to my employer. I'm going to say, now I'm talking, I'm deciding what I want to do with me.
Mm-hmm. You're putting yourself first, right?
Putting yourself first. So now decide how you want to manage your finance. Don't let other people manage finances for yourself. I mean, it's your decision. How you have to prepare a nest for the rainy days, but a nest for your pensions. I mean, the states are going to be bankrupt by the time some of you are going to retire. Mm-hmm. And I wish all the techniques and the thing we've discussed earlier on, I mean, I wish people could learn that when they're in university, when they just before to start their professional career. So that's why I would like to give those type of talks to business school, universities, or young people, because it's not that complex, but it's a way of looking at things which is different and which people really need to understand and to grasp. And it's not that difficult.
No, and it's not difficult when you know what you need to do.
It's not difficult when you need to know.
And you have an online course, right, where you teach people.
So yeah, so because I saw so many people around me like spending crazy amounts of money without saving anything. So being in a difficult situation, so I decided like to create like an online course, which is called the Zen with Money system, which is based of 6 modules with videos and workbooks and exercise. And I'm taking you step by step on a journey from where you are to defining what we said at the beginning of the talk about finding how much you're worth today. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What are your spending habits? I'm teaching people also how to repay their debt quicker. I'm also teaching people how to put their finances on autopilot. And I'm also giving like the wizard steps that we've discussed as part of this talk. So I have 6 wizard steps to help you change your mind and your belief systems around money.
That's a great course. And this is online. Everybody can do it like whenever. There is
Everybody
not a
can do
to
it
start.
whenever.
You can
I'm also offering like to have like a private one-to-one coaching with me once people have done the course to make sure that they really get and embed the concept of the course. And I've created like a discount coupon for everyone who's going to listen to this podcast. And
that's great. Thank you for that.
The coupon is called Carmen.
Nice. Good
So
name.
if you put Carmen when you order the Zen with Money system, you're going to get like $30 off the cost of the course.
Thank you, Antoine, for that. I'll put your website and the link of the course in the description of the podcast and the code, so that people can avail of that discount. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And what is the impact you want to make in the world? What is the legacy you want to leave behind?
Well, that's a big question. But what I would like is that I really would like people to understand that we attract what we focus on. Mm-hmm. So based on the money, so we attract lack of money or abundance of money. So if people can know those kind of steps I'm teaching, for example, in this course, or got a few tips to change their mindset or to look at something a bit differently, I would be very pleased. I want to touch the young people, as I say, that the young professionals starting to make a living, because they will need to know that to provide for safety of their family, and also their parents or their grandparents. So, but it's not just for young people, it's for everyone. I mean, you can decide to start and to change your financial life from today, from tomorrow.
And you can live with abundance, right?
And you can
Live
live
in
with,
abundance.
you can choose to live with abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
But
Thank
don't
you very
forget to
much.
be grateful.
Yes. And where people can find you? You have your website, and are you in social media as well?
Yeah. So I have a website called zenwithmoney.com.
Zenwithmoney.com.
And I have my course on an online platform, which is Podia. And it's called AntoineCatteau.podia.com.
Okay.
So, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm Antoine Catteau Coach, because there's lots of Antoine Catteau on LinkedIn. But if you look for Antoine Catteau Coach, you can find me on LinkedIn as well. And I'm on Instagram at Zen with Money.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'll put your links in the description of the podcast so that people can find you easily.
Okay.
And thank you very much, Antoine. I really enjoyed our conversation. I think we all learned a lot about money, about what is money, how to focus on the positive mindset to attract more abundance.
Yeah.
And how to control your finances in a certain way.
Yeah.
This is something that people need a lot now in these times, and I really appreciate that you share that knowledge with us.
Thank you very much, Carmen. I'm very grateful for giving me the opportunity to be part of your podcast. I really enjoyed that.
And for you guys, you can go to Antoine's website and check his course. It's a 6 weeks course, 6 steps, and it's very good. Has lots of information there, and you can get the discount. And it's 30 euro discount. Is that right?
$30 discount.
$30 discount, and get your course and control. You can take control of your finances now. And for more episodes, you can go to our website, floweroflifepodcast.com.